It's time to look at the paper headlines across Nigeria this morning, and I have with me in the studio two lawyers. It's coincidental, but it's really strategic to have two lawyers with me this morning. I have Jide Ologun, he's a social development advocate. It's nice to have you join me this morning.
Good morning.
Great, and Happy New Year. I also have Tunji Abdul Hamid here with us in the studio. He is a lawyer and political analyst. It's nice to have you join us, really.
Thank you for having me.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Great. Now let's look at let's start from News Direct. News Direct newspaper this morning says, consider malaria-like symptoms as COVID-19. Sanwo-Olu is saying this is the governor of Lagos State. Any symptom you have that looks like malaria, suspect that is COVID-19 first. That is what he's saying. Says the 24,000 students yet to report in public schools. Demand for oxygen jumps from 70 to 330 cylinders per day in Lagos. All right, that's News Direct. From there, let's go to Blueprint. Blueprint newspaper says security improving, military doing better. That's the Lawan is saying this. That's the Ahmed Lawan is the Senate President of Nigeria. Stop being economical with the truth. That's the PDP replying back to him there. Troops ambush, neutralize two bandits in Kaduna community. Police kill one, arrest 9 kidnappers in Niger, and gunmen attack Zamfara village, kill 15. Herders, presidency cautions as Yoruba elders back Akeredolu. Okay, all that you see on the front page of the Blueprint newspaper. Daily Times is next now. Daily Times says federal government unveils plan to lift 20 million out of poverty. Okay, federal government unveils plan to lift 20 million out of poverty, and then lifting 20 million out of poverty will be part of the 100 million that the government or this administration wants to lift out of poverty, which is part of a 10-year plan. Okay, that's Daily Times. Daily Sun is next now. Daily Sun says COVID-19 vaccines meant to kill us. Kogi governor is reported to have said this. The federal government considers vaccines outside Pfizer. BioNTech laments high storage cost. Okay. COVID-19 vaccines meant to kill us. Kogi governor is saying this. Okay, Yahya Bello of Kogi State. Let's go now to the Nation newspaper. Nation newspaper says government spent 1.85 trillion naira on food import during border closure. Buhari's economic advisor raises food security alarm. Okay, that's the Nation newspaper. And then from there, let's go to the Vanguard newspaper. 7-day ultimatum to Fulani herders. Presidency Akeredolu at war. Okay, Akeredolu can't tell herders to leave Ondo. Presidency is saying this. My ultimatum stands, Ondo governor says. All right, so it's a back and forth between the presidency and the governor of Ondo State. Now, This Day newspaper is next now. This Day says, OPS, that's organized private sector, saying second lockdown will inhibit economic recovery. Federal government alleges conspiracy against COVID-19 vaccines. Federal government alleges conspiracy against COVID-19 vaccines. Right? Okay. Then the Punch newspaper is next. INEC planning to make NIN compulsory for voter registration. INEC planning to make NIN compulsory for voter registration. Commission plans H-free registration amid COVID-19 pandemic. NIN SIM linkage to assist in fishing out criminals, says federal government. Crowds overwhelm NIMC centers as NIN holders rise to 47.8 million. Okay, that's the Punch newspaper. Daily Trust is next. Daily Trust says 12.3 million subscribers await SIM linkage with the NIN as 47.8 million phone users cleared. Federal government urged to limit mobile lines possession to 2. Okay, this is another issue altogether now. 12.3 million subscribers await SIM card linkage with the NIN or the SIM linkage. Guardian is next now. Guardian says, farewell Trump, welcome Biden. Farewell Trump, welcome Biden. You know, this is from today being the inauguration of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris as the 46th president and vice president of the United States. 25,000 National Guard troops in Washington, D.C. for Biden's inauguration, and cabinet members plan to infiltrate inauguration, says the FBI. Biden to reverse Trump's policies during first days in office. Cabinet nominees face Congress screening. All right. These are all on the front page of The Guardian, and certainly we'll be talking about some of these things as they relate to our countries here. Now, Daily Independent is next. It says foreign bandits invading Nigeria, wreaking havoc in Oyo. As the governor of Oyo State was the one who made this statement, Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State. Foreign bandits invading Nigeria, wreaking havoc in Oyo. All right, and then from there, let's go to Tribune. Tribune is the last one we're looking at now. And on COVID-19, Lagos oxygen demand rises to 350 cylinders per day. Lagos oxygen demand rises to 350 cylinders per day. Okay, that's the Tribune newspaper. All right, gentlemen. Let's... Today is a very strategic day due to the inauguration of All right, let's get into, you've listened, you've seen all the headlines we have in here this morning across Nigeria, from security to COVID-19 to the issues of lockdown to issues of politics and stuff. We also have on the front page of some of the papers here the inauguration of the President of the United States, as the Guardian, couch the headline, "Farewell Trump, Welcome Biden." We'll be looking at what this holds for Africa and even Nigeria and all of that, knowing that one way or the other, Nigeria has, or Africa has, a connection with the world and even the United States. Now, gentlemen, I know you've all been following the build-up to the inauguration of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris as the 46th president and vice president of the United States. But however, first of all, America has a template that is like a ritual. Every inauguration, every election, everybody knows how things are going to play out. The only thing you don't know is who is going to win. But when the person wins, what is the next step to be taken? What happens at what date? What happens? And all of those things are fixed, where everybody knows how it goes. But in this last election, there seemed to be so much disagreements with how things are supposed to go. In fact, there were uncertainty whether there was going to be, on the 6th of January, from what happened, it looked like this is going to be, the norm will not be followed. But what lessons do we have to learn from people who have been watching? Jide, let me start with you here.
I think it's just a matter of challenging the norm, and Trump came to do that. And if you monitored his approach into politics also, the way he almost overran the Republican platform to emerge as the candidate, and even in office, he has brought in a new style. If you look at his policies, he started with the immigration policy, banning some from coming to America. He engaged in a serious battle with China, the trade war. And you saw how he went to Syria and bombarded Syria, delivered a mother of all bombs in Afghanistan. So he's been clearly out to project the greatness of America, according to him. And at a point, he was perceived as being a racist because he told the whole world, it's America first. Remember also, he was planning to build a wall to separate Mexico. And how this affects Nigeria, we must bring it to board. I think he also tried to introduce the African democracy electoral system by seeking to import Nigerian angels to help him win, which didn't fly, and the harassment, the attack of the Capitol. And we must learn a lesson there. That was when the American institution rose up and said, no, you may be aggressive, you may not be pleased with what is going on, but we need to defend the credibility of the American system. So you found even people in his own party rising up to say no, some resigning. And the lesson for us there is that nobody is truly above the law in America. You can compare that with the recent election in Uganda, and what we are reading. So, and by and large also, as Biden is coming in now, some are expecting, particularly African countries, that it may be more liberal for them. And I know an area that will really interest us. In the regime of Trump, there was a serious cut down on U.S. aid's budget to developing countries in the area of supporting health, security, education, and other developmental needs. It's expected that Biden may increase that, because for Donald Trump, I mean, if you guys cannot develop your region, it's up to you. You have the resources. And of course, we also need to rise up in the area of trade. How do we improve on our foreign exchange earnings? Now that the market may be more liberal for developing countries, because he is expected to be a bridge builder, an alliance person, somebody who will unify.
Okay, we'll come back to that road, that path you're taking. We'll come back there. But Tunji, let me bring you in here. He was talking about the issue of lessons to learn, but let's take it from the issue of the invasion of the capital, which is like their National Assembly. We've had it before here in Nigeria, where some hoodlums or thugs, as they were called, invaded the National Assembly, took the mace, and ran out somehow, where nothing happened. And even until now, we have not heard something that happened so much. But America, as it is, some of the persons that have been identified via CCTV camera and all of that, some have been arrested, and there's the talk about prosecution, and to ensure that these doesn't happen again. When you compare these two, how far apart are they?
You see, let me say that the event in the U.S., the one you just explained, is a confirmation that no human being or politician, or human being or politicians are the same everywhere, whether Africa, whether it is when you realize that, look, the system will not allow you, you will be forced to cooperate and abide by the rules and regulations. You see, the sit-tight syndrome that we're always talking about in Africa, that is a confirmation that it's not only in Africa that it can happen.
It can happen anywhere. So the tendency is always there.
Yes, okay. It can happen anywhere. They are getting away in Africa because people tend to not to be too aggressive in fighting for their rights. And secondly, the system allows it. So if you have a system that is working, you have a system that will not allow anybody to be above the law, or anybody that will be above, that will be seen as, if what happened in the US were to be in some African country, even in my country, the security agencies who are now against trying to protect the law, will fall in line with what the person in charge is talking about. Their loyalty will be to the president. They will not, instead of loyalty to the country. So that's what you see in US. Those issues, if it were to be National Assembly in Nigeria, it will be divided. You'll be hearing the issue of ethnicity, the issue of party affiliations. Other sentiments will come in, and then that issue will not be will be set aside, and it will create a kind of a problem. But like I said, Nigeria too, I think we're also above some African country in that regard. Even if it comes, we'll be able to also surmount it and sometimes come
like it was done early in this republic when a former president wanted to go for a third term or something.
Exactly. So it's an evidence that, look, we need to strengthen our institution so that individuals, people, or group of people will not see themselves as alpha and omega or above the system. So in Nigeria, mostly we rely on individual. We talk about individual. We don't talk about institution. When we want to elect president, we say it's honest, it's integrity, it's whatever. We will not look at whether or not the integrity will be realized. Looking at the system
and also looking at his pedigree in the past. Now, talking about the issue of systems, we remember the very popular speech President Obama gave when he came, at the time he was president and came to Africa in Ghana, when he was saying that Africa needs strong institutions and not strong men. But some analysts have argued that you need strong men who have the love of the country to ensure that you build stronger institutions.
Yeah,
I wonder what to make of that.
Strong men build strong institutions. I'll use the example of Singapore. Lee Kuan Yew had the opportunity of managing Singapore from the onset when they left Malaysia in 1965. And he decided to turn that third world country to a paradise, in quote, by building institutions, restructuring the system. He focused the minds of the people, the orientation, on production. And there are two levels of wealth creation: the wealth you create and the wealth you attract. He also developed institutions to bring wealth into that region. And today, that region is one of the safest places to live, most prosperous places to live on earth. So talking about that, and I tie myself to the position of Barrister Abdulhamid. If what Trump attempted in the US by instigating, he has denied it anyway, allegedly instigating the attack of the Capitol, and the Americans respect that monument, I can let you know that. If it were to be in Africa, you see the institution shifting. There is a present case now that is trending. Governor Akeredolu of Ondo State is telling the herders, no, you cannot occupy the reserved forest. Come out, I'm giving you 7 days, register. The presidency is saying no. And this, we are talking about national interest here. So are we saying it is right to transform a business concern to a destructive concern within the confines of Section 14, subsection 2 of Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended, that says that the security and the welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government? So that is what we are saying. We need institutions. We are talking about the national identity number registration. Do we have strong institutions that will simplify it? And we make it seamless for those who want to participate. We are talking about electricity. Do we have strong institutions that will stand and say, oh, you invested as a private sector player in this project and you are making losses? Don't push your losses to the people through estimated billings. Can we have institutions that will say, you may be a honorable member in the National Assembly, you cannot stampede the people? And that is what we are seeing now. It's so interesting. I mean, for those who did not approach it with deep minds, you would have expected that by now, with how Trump started behaving, that nobody will remove him from White House. But I can let you, I mean, I was monitoring him keenly, and I trust America. Somehow, he was just going to leave.
So it was the issue of whether he liked it or not.
Exactly.
Whether he liked it or not.
But here, the moment somebody rises up to begin to fight, those who should checkmate the person, they queue behind.
Begin to align.
So, and that's what we are saying. So when this institution is built, you now sustain it. Sheikh Zayed did the same in the UAE. In fact, do you know what Lee Kuan Yew said? He said, we decided to do the right things and will continue. And now the female president of Singapore continues with that. Sheikh Zayed could have been 100 years old in 2018. He was widely celebrated. And the institution he has established in the UAE is still pumping prosperity in that region. And I mean, he said it, that oil, that wealth is not money, but developing people, and that the oil wealth of UAE may not last forever. So you see how, in terms of infrastructure, and so it is the man that builds the strong institutions that will sustain that greatness. And I think we need to work on that. Right. If we have strong institutions by now, some service chiefs will no longer be in office, because it should be management by objective and returns on investment. You benchmark, have you delivered on the mandate? And I think you can link the two. So the man and the institutions, they are connected.
All right, Tuji, let me bring you in. He spoke earlier and made reference to Uganda. We've been following the elections between Museveni and Bobby Wine. Now, although at the time Bobby Wine said he was leading, but all that is over now, as Museveni, he said, has won the election, as the case may be. But when it comes to set tight leaders like we make reference to, Museveni is not the only president. We also have Paul Biya of Cameroon. There are so many other presidents across the African continent. Remember Robert Mugabe and so on. But some people have argued that the democracy of the West, where it is based on 4 years or maybe 5 years, renewable and all of that, cannot be the benchmark across the world. People have their peculiarities. Africans have their peculiarities. So imposing that 4-year system on Africa that originally, before the coming of the colonialists, had a monarchical nomenclature of leadership, that it is counterproductive. What do you make of this?
I dare to disagree with that position, because I'm not aware that any people from the West or they impose any system on anybody. Yeah. There is democracy, and they did not say, look, this democracy you are doing, it must be 4-year term, it must be 10-year term. It was you that copied their own system. It is your personal decision to copy what they are doing. If you believe that, look, this 4 years is not enough for us in Africa, just like they are doing, you can as well put it in your constitution and say, 2 years of 10, 2 terms of 10 years each. You understand my point? But having agreed to put 4 years in it, you have to abide by it. But what we see in Africa is that once they have tenure, if you have 2 terms of 4 years now, whatever, once you is about expiring, you will see a move to amend the constitution to change. It's only in African policies that I see that when you change the goalpost. When
you're about to score a goal, you change the goalpost.
So I'll bet to agree that it's been imposed on us, and if it's not going to work for you, you can as well change it and do it in line with what it's just a precedent.
Yeah, but Africans, they don't seem to be mastering this 4 or 5 years of rotational presidency.
No, it's because of our selfish interest. Everybody they just want to be there, and most time what annoys me more is that most of these people don't even have the intelligence to even deliver, and they want to sit out and then be there just to see. They see it as a family affair. They see it as a retreat, and then they want to be there, just enjoy themselves without even making people. If they are doing, if they sit tight, and we are seeing the results, I can even justify and say, look, even though it's against the law, or even though it's been manipulated, at least he has done wonderfully well for his people. That is not the case here. They will sit tight and nothing will change. In fact, it will be getting worse. So I think I disagree that it's being imposed on us or it's not working for us. If it's not working for us, we have the right. We are adults, for goodness sake. We are suffering country, and we can as well change it and say, look, this is what will work for us. If it's monarchical government we want to do, let's go by it. If it's a democracy we want to go, let's go by it. It's not by force. What we are following as democracy or whatever now is just a precedent. We are not supposed to copy direct with what they are doing. It is for us to use it and adopt it to suit our own peculiarity. Yeah. That's what I see.
All right. Some people have brought up the issue of us going back to the First Republic, because the point there is a lot of people, in fact, elder statesman Ango Abdullahi recently was talking about this, where and his voice is not the first, as the case may be. A lot of Nigerians across the country have said the presidential system of government will run. The American kind of presidential system of government will run. Even though when we borrowed it, we had to fine-tune it to fit our because we didn't copy everything the way it is. But that is too expensive and, different characteristics around it. So there's the issue of let's go back to the parliamentary system of the First Republic, that ministers or parliamentarians can also be ministers. So it becomes a fusion of government in that regard, and it's cheaper. What do you say?
I think it's all about governance mindset.
Okay.
So
it's not the system of government necessarily.
I learned in school that let fools argue about the systems of government. What is important is what you deliver. What system of government is carried out in Saudi Arabia, for instance? Is there no prosperity in that region? I know that in the First Republic he made reference to, we had the regional system.
Yes.
But the leaders were eager to develop the environment. You had the granite pyramids in the north. That was when Cocoa House was built, the coal in Enugu, the rubber. Do you know that Nigeria should be producing the tires used in the world for vehicles? With the rubber reserve and everything. But when you have greedy leaders, it does not matter the system you put in place. They will mess it up. I just asked a question now. What's the system of government in Rwanda? What's the system of government in Australia, in Iceland, that has been the safest place to live for 12 years consecutively? So it's not about the system you run. It's just that we have run down with greed. And on the cost of doing business, Nigerians have screamed on it. We debated the allowances of National Assembly at a time. So we must come back to one reality, my brother and great Nigerians, that poverty is a fast destroyer.
All right.
And as soon as we can migrate from poverty to prosperity in this nation, the safer for everybody.
All right. Well, the government is saying they want to lift 20 million out of poverty.
10,000 naira, 5,000 naira.
You have not added the population of bandits.
Yeah, let's
if you fighting this country.
10,000 naira will leave them.
And when they start giving back to children.
Thank you very much for your time on the program. And Tujabilami, thank you very much for coming. I really appreciate all of you. All right. You're watching TVC Breakfast. We were taking a look at the headlines across Nigeria and also talking about the systems of government and leadership and rulership on the African continent, taking a cue from the fact that today is the inauguration day of the President of the United States, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.